Hi, and welcome back to your Medicare Mastery, or we like to call it your Medicare Essentials Workshop. I really appreciate you being back here, and as always, my name is Filip Lundstedt. I'm known as the insurance guru because I'm going to show you the strategies and the secrets that the insurance companies, they don't want you to know. So I hope that's okay with you. So today we're going to go right into video 3, which is Medicare supplements, also known as Medigap plans. Medicare supplements are a very popular way of handling Medicare. So again, if we recover and kind of go through Medicare, and what we talked about in video 1 is there are some gaps there, right? There's a $1,600 deductible for Medicare Part A, and then you've got some coinsurances once you hit 60 days in the hospital. For Medicare Part B, you've got not only premiums, but you also have a gap between the 80% and 100% because you have to pay 20% of the cost of everything that happens under Medicare Part B. And as I discussed before in video 1, there are some gaps that can really affect you. And some of those things, if you had an expensive surgery and 20% of $100,000 is 20 grand, and a lot of people can't pay for that. So what do? How do we cover those gaps? We get what's called a Medicare supplement program. And the way that I want you to think about this is Medicare supplements are private insurance companies that help you cover the costs that are not paid by original Medicare. Now, Medicare is your primary payer. They're paying 80% of the bill. Then you go out and hire a private insurance company that then supplements that by paying the other 20%. 80% plus 20% equals 100% coverage for your Part A and your Part B. So remember that the Medicare supplement is your secondary insurance, where Medicare is your primary. They pick up the 80%, and then the Medicare supplement picks up the remaining 20% only after Medicare has paid first. So the thing about Medicare supplement plans, which I actually love and a lot of people get confused on, is the plans, they're standardized. And what I mean by that is a Plan G with United Healthcare is the same plan as a Plan G with Aetna or Humana or Mutual of Omaha or Florida Blue or Blue Cross Blue Shield. It doesn't make a difference. A Plan G is a Plan G. And these plans, these standardized plans, they go all the way from A up to N. There's a lot of different plans that you can choose from, and they all differ in what they actually cover. So the plans, they do offer different coverage levels, and they are standardized across all insurance companies. The one thing that will change is the premium. How much are you paying every single month for these programs? Some programs are more expensive, some programs are less expensive. Some insurance companies are more expensive, some insurance companies are less expensive. Something to keep in mind, this is a pro tip right here. Something to keep in mind is just because the initial premium is lower, you must be careful. Some insurance companies have a history of charging higher inflation rates, which means every year when you get re-strategized or you get re-rated, you may have a giant increase, 15%, 20% increases in your rates year after year, where some companies may start with a higher premium, but they historically have 1%, 1.5%, or 2% increases averagely over every year when you have rate increases. It's important to understand that. We help guide you when that happens, when we run through all of your exact information and individualize the plans and come up with a tailored strategy that works best for you, not just for today, but for next year and the year after and the year after. It's really important that you understand that. So some key benefits that we want to talk about with Medicare supplements. Medicare supplements cover the Part A deductible, the coinsurance, and the excess charges. Excess is this funny little thing that happens where doctors can charge 25% or facilities can charge 25% above and beyond what Medicare allows, okay? It's important that you get a program that covers the excess charges. Some plans even cover foreign travel for things like emergencies, right? So if you have an emergency and you're in France and you need an operation or something happens like that, your supplement plan will cover you. Now keep in mind that in France, they don't know what Medicare is and they don't know what Medicare supplements are, which means you're gonna have to come out of pocket first, and then we do a reimbursement when you come back stateside. But the good news is this: America, well, it's good and bad news, but America is the most expensive country in the world for healthcare. which means if you're traveling to a foreign country, the cost that you're gonna pay out of your pocket is very low. Most of the times, it's sub $1,000, which is easy for you to pay, and then when you come back to the United States, we submit for reimbursement. Something else that's really important to understand is that with Medicare supplements or Medigap policies, there are no networks. You can use any provider that accepts Medicare. As long as they accept assignment from Medicare, you can see that doctor. Well, what if a doctor does not accept Medicare? Well, you can't use your supplement for that, and you're gonna be paying that bill 100%. So the costs, they can vary. And the monthly premiums is what we're talking about. They'll vary by age, location, and plan. And I want to give you a really good example. I like to use the example of the Medicare Supplement Plan G. And the reason I like the G is because it's the most inclusive plan that exists on the Medicare Supplement Board. The only thing that you would have to pay on the Medicare Plan G is the Part B deductible of $240. Everything else would be covered at 100%. The excess, the doctors, the surgeons, the anesthesiologist, all the hospitalization, everything. After you've paid the $240 deductible, you're home free, you got 100% coverage. The other programs are gonna vary on what they pay for, what they don't pay for, and it can get really confusing when you're on Plan N, or you're on Plan C, or you're on Plan D, or you're on Plan A. Remember, this can be confusing. I suggest you always go with Plan G. That's gonna give you the best expectations on what your insurance is gonna cost you for the year. There are specific enrollment periods that do exist for Medicare supplements. The first one that I like to talk about is the open enrollment period, okay, or the initial enrollment period. This is 6 months after your Part B effective date, including the month that you turn, right? So 6 months after your Part B effective date is your Medigap open enrollment period, or your Medicare supplement open enrollment period. The important part of this open enrollment period is that it's guaranteed issue. Guaranteed issue means no pre-existing conditions. It doesn't matter how healthy or unhealthy you are, you will be absolutely 100% approved for a Medicare supplement. Super important to understand that. So, just to recap this, the Medicare supplement or the Medigap policy is a secondary policy that pays after Medicare pays the 80%. The private insurance company or supplement will pay the 20% that Medicare is not covering. Now, there's all these different programs that exist, but I suggest Plan G. It's just the easiest example. And in my experience, in 22 years, having hundreds of people on supplements, the Plan G just really works right because it gives you the proper expectation of what your healthcare costs can be. Now, you may ask yourself, is a Medicare supplement right for me? There's no perfect answer here. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. What I want to do is break down a few of the different reasons why you might want a Medicare supplement. The number one reason is because you're needy. You have medical needs. You're going to the doctor 50, 60 times a year. You've got 4 or 5 doctors and you're seeing them on the regular. You may say 50 times a year, that's crazy. Well, not if you're sick. Not if you got a lot of problems and you have a lot of issues. If you have a lot of problems and a lot of issues, you may be seeing doctors weekly. And if you have multiple doctors that you're seeing weekly, you could get up to 50, 60 visits. And if that's the case, you definitely want to get on a Medicare supplement because you can beat the house. Let's just say, because the average of a Medicare supplement is around $200 a month, if you're paying $200 a month every single month for a Medicare supplement, you know that at the end of the year, the most you're paying is $2,400 for the entire year for the supplement, the $240 deductible, which is $240 plus the $2,400 is going to put you at $2,640, and then that's it. All of your treatment, all of your doctors, all of your hospitalizations, all of your surgeries are all covered because you've already prepaid for those services. So the ideal person for a Medicare supplement is for somebody that is medically needy. The second reason why you'd get one is for geographics. Where do you live? Depending on where you live, there may be certain programs that are not offered. And maybe the only option that you have is a Medicare supplement, so you must get on a Medicare supplement. The third reason is maybe you're traveling and you're medically needy, meaning you split your time in Florida and you split your time in Texas, and you have physicians and specialists in both states that you need to see regularly. You spend 6 months here in Florida and you got 4 or 5 doctors that you're seeing, then you go back to Texas and you got 4 or 5 doctors that you're seeing there. You may want a Medicare supplement for ease of use and to guarantee the amount of money that you're paying every year for your healthcare. Again, that's because you're medically needy and you have a geographic need. Another reason that you might want a Medicare supplement is because it's a warm blanket. And this is the one thing nobody can argue because it's your feelings and your feelings belong to you. You may say, well, it just makes me feel comfortable, Filip. I like the feeling that if I have a Medicare supplement, I can go wherever I want and I can see all these doctors. I don't need to ask for permission. I don't have networks. And you know what? To be honest with you, $200 is a drop in the bucket. It doesn't cost me a lot of money. It's out of sight, out of mind. For that, I completely understand. I have clients that are on Medicare supplements for that reason, because they just feel like that's what's best for them and it makes them feel warm and cozy. I call it the warm blanket phase. So this might be a great thing for you. But the biggest reason why people buy Medicare supplements, which is unfortunate, is because they're sold and they're told, which means that somebody told them this is the best thing ever. You need to have this if you want to have coverages for emergency care, or you need to have this if you get cancer and all these other things. That's not necessarily true. It depends on where you live, it depends on what your wants and needs are, and it depends on your current situation. You see, no one should be telling you, you should go with this is the best thing, without asking you a ton of questions and showing you all the different opportunities and strategies that exist. And at ProCare, we believe in a tailored individual approach for every single one of our clients and members. We want to ask you questions. We want to know about your doctors and your prescriptions. We want to know about your wants and needs, but we also want to know about your fears, because we want to be able to mitigate the anxiety and stress that comes around picking an insurance program. So before you just say, oh, I'm just gonna go with the best because this is what my financial planner told me, make sure you give us a call where we will give you a non-biased approach to where we'll show you all the strategies that exist to make sure that the Medicare supplement is the right fit for you. Again, Medicare supplements are great policies. We have hundreds of people on Medicare supplements here at ProCare, and they absolutely love it, but they all have different reasons why they're on the policy. Let's find out what your reason might be.